You made it here for part 6. Let's get started. I can't sit here and lie and say that my ex was, completely trash, because we did have a lot of great memories, hence why we have 4 kids. What I do know, though, is I think I definitely loved him a lot more than he loved me, and he was a safe place for me, and that just wasn't real and so delusional, and I don't know where it stems from and where it comes from. I know that there wasn't enough self-love, so therefore it crashed. But anyway, why it felt so amazing was because him and alongside his brothers and his family were one of the only Middle Eastern communities or families that just didn't judge me. When I came around my ex, I met him, I had known him because he was my sister's friend, and my sister had a relationship with his brother and shares a kid with one of his brothers. And at that time it was just a baby, and my sister and me weren't too close, and then she had moved on with another guy, so he wasn't the closest to her anymore. But that's how far along we know my ex. My family, my ex was also really close to my brothers, both of them, God rest their souls in peace. I just lost one of my brothers 2 years ago, which is another story time, which is really going to be difficult to talk about, but I'm going to have to do it because that's where I'm going to go after Salt Lake police in the videos to go harder for his case, because he was murdered by, we don't know still to this day who. A lot of positive points with my ex and his families. When I came around, they just obviously never made me feel judged. And when I would bring my daughter around, at that time she was just a little girl, they really welcomed her with open arms and made me feel so good and so welcoming. This was just 3 months after my brother's passing. During my party times, I met my ex outside of a club, and then we just kind of he had liked me even before I went to Hawaii. He helped me actually leave to Hawaii, but I was so naive and a fob. I didn't catch on, And he was super sweet to me, and I do remember he definitely did like me a lot. It's a whole Bonnie and Clyde story. There is so much to that, ups, downs, really bad destructive shit in between our relationship. Really good shit. I mean, love bombing, every fucking term you can think of that was negative, and every fucking term that you can think of that was positive, and love. All of it goes with that ex of mine that I had kids with, that I'm no longer with, and left and came here to Cali to just escape all the bullshit once and for all. But that, give or take, has been 15 years of the most craziest story of my life. However, I'm just going to the beginning, which was a lot of acceptance and a safe spot for me because I didn't feel judged. I would just think wow, I can feel safe here. And then we would party together. I kind of got him to go to the clubs a lot more than he was going. He'd party outside of them or house parties. I never felt safe at house parties, so the club was safe for me, just security. And then one time at the club, some very hater-ass girl long ago threw a gigantic glass cup of an AMF at my face, splitting my face open from here all the way down, causing me to have 32 stitches, and also causing me to break my nose in 3 different places here. So I did have nose surgery a couple times to repair it and then fix my nose. And through it all, he was there for me. When I looked like Shrek and had 2 black eyes and thought I was the shit. And I was like, let's go to experience a rave that I've never been to. My ex was like, maybe we shouldn't. And still just treated me with so much love. I don't know why the love died down so many years later. Because we were old school love before all the social media and everything. But those were the good days that I thought were the bad days, because I was living out my own trauma. But then after that, just people change, and just people let traumas affect them. And I'm trying so hard not to, because it has took me to a dark place, depression and all that. I feel traumas that he's been through in life have took him to a dark place, which takes all that history, whether it was good or whatever, down the drain. You got to toss it and run. If people cannot learn to get better and or love you authentically and purely, toss them. Just to rewind a little, we trauma bonded because before my 19-year-old brother died, my first brother, God bless his soul, he lost his 25-year-old brother to a motorcycle accident. And then after my brother died, 9 months later, he lost his other 21-year-old brother, where the police shot him to death. And God bless his soul in peace and in heaven. He was like my best friend, that brother of my ex's. He was the sweetest soul that ever came to this planet of Earth. I love that boy so much. He's another reason why I kept my oldest and my first child with my ex, because of him. He was like, keep that baby. And honestly, after saying that, he died about 17 days later. So I know we've trauma bonded because both his brothers are buried in the same graveyard as both my brothers. Now we just buried my newest dead brother that was 30 something years old, 33, 34 years old, in the same graveyard next to my first brother that died. And then he has two brothers and an uncle buried over there. So we just have so much family deaths that like probably made us trauma bond. Like, none of that's an excuse to have shit fuck behavior, but in his case, I mean, he had someone to lean on, me, because I was always the provider for our children financially. So like, if he wanted to go fuck off, then there's me to lean back on because I'm taking care of everything, the bills and everything else. And it wasn't because I was forced to or like, oh my God, and I wanted to. It's because I had always been ambitious. Before meeting my ex or any of the exes, I was just an ambitious woman to begin with from the jump. I went to hair school at a young age, right when I came back from Afghanistan, while all my family was like, no, you need to go to computer science and be a nurse. I was like, no, fuck that. I want to be a hairdresser when I was only like 18 and 19 years old. And so my older brother, he's the one that like put me into the college to do hair. And so like I was like, I want to open a salon, and I never had support doing any of that either because my family just frowned upon that. But my dad was helpful helping open it and start the business, but not like financially. I had to do everything on my own. So of course, through all the trauma, I did open my salon, and thank you, God Almighty, for making me such an ambitious woman and such a motivated woman. I'm super grateful to God for that. But that also has been my downfall, because then I chose the wrong baby daddy that never wanted to really work and hold down a job. So I'm the main provider all the time. And doing that as a woman, eventually over and over and over, and trying to run a business full time and trying to get the business on its feet and trying to breastfeed and trying to be pregnant and trying to give birth and trying to cook, that like eventually takes a hard toll on any human, let alone a woman. I didn't know the term burnt out, but it simply burnt me out. The last 3 kids I would give birth and go right back into the salon literally 7 days later. I remember 7 days later, I was back in the salon after Yusuf. 7 days later, I was back into my little salon after Yasin, breastfeeding them in the back, trying to juggle clients, trying to let them sleep, take naps, and do clients in between. I can just hear a lot of you guys screaming, how fucking stupid. How dumb could you be? But you know what? This is my story, and I know it's so damn dumb. I didn't know better. Really, truly didn't know better. I was going through my own shit and couldn't process any of my own dumb shit. Like, I wasn't willing to stop and process. I have just been going at 100 miles per hour for as long as I can remember, for 17 plus years. Plus, when I say plus, because Hamza is now going to be 22 in just 2 short days. So 22 straight years of just running and fight or flight. There's so much more to tell you guys, and this is already getting so long. I'm loving this setting spray from Juvia's place. I've often been told my life is a movie, and it really is, because I can't fit it in all these videos. So you already know I will give you guys a part 7 soon. Love you guys. Bye.